Arnold tells a story about the wolves really chasing him, and they really were, because I don't think those dogs were very well trained. They attacked their own master several times while we were there.
So we did the scene, and I ran, and the first time we shot it without those wolves, and the second time we shot it with it. And sure enough, everything that could go wrong went wrong. I somehow got to the place where I was supposed to climb up and couldn't find my first step. And the next thing I knew was this wolf jumping on my back, ripping me down from the top of the rock, and I'm falling down and injure myself. And the front of this animal was right in my face like this, just totally. And the animal trainer was luckily right there on top of it, pulling it away and stuff like that. So these were the first few stitches. This was like still in the morning. It hasn't got noon yet on the first day of shooting when I already got my first few stitches with the medic there. You know, and in Spain, it's not a doctor that comes to stitches up your back. It's a medic that just goes, yeah, I got a needle there, and is that stitching you up. I'm sitting there the first day of shooting. So it was quite an interesting beginning, I would say.
And then I remember the thing where Arnold did fall down the rocks, and he looks and he's bleeding, and he says, "I'm bleeding." And I said, "Yeah, look, it looks great. Don't touch it, you know." And he says, he goes, but I'm bleeding, you know. And then I said, "The pain is only momentary, but the film is eternal."
Pain is temporary, but movies are forever. He says, this movie will be forever.
There was one accident that was very, very bad for me, where my index finger got severed. It was in the battle sequence when we were inside the castle, and we were under a time limit, and I was working with an extra, probably should have been a stuntman in that routine. And as I remember, the guy did the wrong move, which was called a parry, and his sword slid down and then cut my index finger.
It was unfortunate. She cut her finger pretty bad, and they had to take her to the hospital and get sewed up and everything. But the concept of making an action film with major stars, there's always that element of risk. You try and wring out all the options that you have and try and make it perfectly safe, but every once in a while somebody's going to get nicked.
John Millius, instead of saying, "Oh my God, are you all right?" I remember him saying, "Valeria would never let that happen again."
Thank you.
So
It just shows
this is the show.
that even when you work on a documentary about the making of Conan, there's injuries and danger involved. It never stops.